Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com.
Welcome to Orange Nation. As we're celebrating the artist of the day today, Good Charlotte. I'm going to start calling him Not So Great Charlotte because I'm not a fan. Like it's her birthday.
All right, without further ado, let's go to our guest line. Bring on our first guest today. He is a redshirt sophomore midfielder on the SU men's lacrosse team, currently second on the team in goals. We are pleased to be joined by Jackson Birtwistle. Jackson, thanks so much for coming on. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, as a team, you guys are doing great as well. What has led to this run that you guys are on? You know, I mean, you look at the Princeton game, the Carolina game, back-to-back wins over ranked opponents, the kind of game that, you know, if we're being honest, you guys were losing earlier in the year. Now you're finding ways to pull them out and to close them out. What has changed with this team over the course of the last month or so?
Yeah, definitely. I think the main kind of point that we've been trying to talk about in practice is really just focusing, on the day we have at hand and the game that we have that week. Just focusing on the little things like finishing the ball, clearing, riding, everything like that, and not being worried about the future games or the NCAA tournament or anything like that. Just taking it a game at a time.
We look at it as, this team has kind of grown and evolved over the course of this season, but has it really been a 2-year process for you guys going back to, the beginning of last year and Gary taking over and, going through some growing pains last year? Has that led to the success now, everything you guys had to deal with over the course of the last, year and a half or so?
I think that's a good question. I'm not really sure. I just know that this year I think we have a lot of new faces. I think our coaches are kind of settling in and realizing the pieces that we have, and we've just been able to put it all together, in one piece these past couple of games. So, yeah.
You mentioned the new pieces, and again, going back to the Carolina game, you guys scored 15 goals. 7 of those 15, so essentially half the goals you scored, were either scored or assisted on by freshmen. You had 2 goals. You've got 2 more years of eligibility after this year. You've got this young core. I mean, how exciting is it? And I know the focus is on the here and now, Jackson, but how exciting is it as you kind of peek to the future and see all of these young guys that you have, guys who have played a lot this year, and knowing that you're going to have this core together for the next couple of years moving forward?
Yeah, it's really cool. Obviously you don't want to think too much about it. You want to focus, on this season, but like you said, it's really cool to think about. These guys, especially offensively. There's so many guys. They're excited, they're hungry, and they're ready to take this program to a new height in the near future. So I can't wait for this season and the next couple seasons that we have moving forward.
The young guys are certainly a big part of the success of this team. I think we also have to give credit though to the upperclassmen, right? And you've got some grad transfers, you got some older guys. Cole Kirst comes to mind, Alex Simmons, guys who've been around the program. Griffin Cook, who's obviously been here, the JD product. How important have those guys been to the success of this team? To have some of that veteran leadership and guys who have played a lot of college lacrosse.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of culture, Cole Kirsten and Alex Simmons, like you said, they've stepped in from other schools, and they've been amazing in terms of leadership and leading our younger guys. So it's been really cool. And then just like that, we obviously have our guys who have been here for 4 and 5 years as well. So I think just our older guys have just done a good job of being able to control kind of the emotions and all the things you get from a young team and kind of turn it into something that we've been able to build upon as the season goes forward. So I think they've been doing an amazing job as well.
I do have to ask you about Joey Spallina. I mentioned that you're second on the team in goals. Spallina is leading the way with 34, is 5th in the country right now in points. And, when you've got that number 22 on your chest, right? I mean, there's, a lot of expectations that come with that, but there's also a lot of pressure. Can you speak at all to how you've seen Joey Spallina, I guess, handle all of these expectations, all the pressure that is on him, and how he's handled it over the course of this season? And again, from the outside looking in, it looks like he's handled it with ease. I know it's not an easy thing, but can you kind of speak to his development and what he's meant to this team?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, from the first day, he's had such a great work ethic. He came in. And right away he's in the weight room by himself. He's up early. He's working hard, and that's kind of thing that I've noticed too. Is just how hard the kid works. He's done a great job. He's an awesome kid off the field, and that kind of all plays into what he's been able to do on the field. He's been able to do some amazing things so far, and he's got a great career ahead of him. So it's awesome watching him play.
You've got all this momentum right now, right? You beat Princeton, you beat North Carolina, and you control your own destiny. I know you've got 2 really tough games left, both against top 5 teams, both on the road. But if you get them both, I think everyone would agree that you're in the tournament. If you go 1-1, you might be sweating it out on the bubble. How do you guys kind of stay focused? You touched on at the beginning of the interview, Jackson, that you kind of stay focused on the here and now. But I know that you guys must want to get into the NCAA tournament. How do you keep yourselves, as players and as a team collectively, from looking at the big picture and, trying to figure out what you need to do to get in when really the focus just has to be on, as you said, next day, next practice, next game, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's obviously something that we think about, and it's in the back of our minds. But I honestly just think it's just focusing on the little things. At this point in our season, I think we know that we can beat anyone in the country, and we're confident in that. But we know that based off the last 2 games that we've been playing our best lacrosse. So if we can just do the little things right, I think clearing and riding was a big thing we've been focusing on practice for this game. Things like ground balls, just the little things. I think those are things we need to focus on to get this W, and then we'll move forward onto Duke. So. Yeah, just basically the little things, honestly.
We've talked a lot about the offense. I do want to touch on the defensive end, and having Will Mark back there as the last line of defense, and how do I phrase this? I guess how does that how important is that, I guess, to know that you've got a defense this year and you've got a goalie back there as the last line of defense that could keep you guys in games, even if maybe if offensively things aren't going your way, you do have a defense that can keep you in games.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously there's been a couple of games where offensively we haven't been on our best game, and Will and the entire defense has been able to bail us out and keep us in games and get some big W's. So it means the world to have Will in there. He's I think one of the best goalies in the country, if not the best goalie, and just like Will, I think we have some of the best players in terms of just defense and D-midi, and I think we have really been meshing together as a defense. I'm obviously not a defensive player, but based off what I've seen in games and in practice, they've been meshing more and more with each other, day to day. So it's been really cool to see, and it's obviously when it comes game time, you wouldn't want to have anyone else in there besides Will Mark. So it's been awesome. All
right, let's look ahead to this next opponent now, and as we said, Virginia is certainly one of the best teams in the country. It's a road game. It's a tough place to play. There's a lot on the line for you guys, a lot on the line for Virginia, obviously, as well, in terms of seeding and whatnot. What can you tell us about the Cavs and what stands out to you about this particular opponent?
Yeah, it's a good question. We know that they're kind of talented in all aspects of the game, but coaches have given us a game plan, and we're going to try to focus on that game plan and do everything we can to win. So obviously don't want to talk too much about what that game plan is, but we're kind of just focused on little things, like I said, and trying to get everything done and play 4 quarters of good lacrosse and hopefully get a W. Yeah,
I certainly respect the fact you don't want to get into the game plan. I guess last question for you. Just in terms of the confidence level of this team right now, fair to say that you guys feel like you can beat anybody in the country at the moment?
Yes, sir. Yeah, 100%. We talk about in the locker room a lot. We feel very confident right now with our abilities, and we're confident. We're not cocky at all. We know that we need to win some games here, and we're just trying to use that confidence to get a spark rolling and get some W's here towards the end of the season and make it into the tournament. And at that point, anything can happen. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, no doubt. You're certainly giving the selection committee something to think about here with this run that you're on. 2:00 start on Saturday down in Charlottesville. Jackson, thanks so much for coming on. Continued success to you and your teammates, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
Yep, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jackson Birtwistle, redshirt sophomore midfielder, second leading scorer on this team right now, Paulie.
That's pretty good. There's only one person better than
That's right.
Steve.
That's right.
I'm good at the math.
It would be one Joey Spallina. Yeah. You looked at me like you wanted to say something. That's why I said your name.
I was going to do a quick.
Okay.
I was going to do a quick read. You threw me off. I wasn't.
Oh, I
wasn't expecting a quiz.
You didn't want to talk about lacrosse. Okay.
No, it wasn't that. I thought we were going. I thought we were going to break. I was going to say this hour of Orange Nation brought to you by the Wildcat Pizza Pub. Thanks to our buddy Dan for help pay our checks and making the ability to have the second leading scorer on the Syracuse lacrosse team on the air.
We've been doing this show together for a while now. Normally we're on the same page and we know like what the other one's thinking or where the other one's going. We were a little off there. It was we did not connect on that.
Yeah, that would not have been a good Paulie and the Professor interview.
They're playing well, Paulie. That's all
they
you gotta
are.
know. They are.
They're on the bubble, Steve.
Yeah, I mean they're playing their way. I mean, yes, they're on the bubble.
You know what I love.
You love the bubble. It's fun.
Right.
The bubble is fun. You're Captain Fun.
Yeah, I'd rather be on the bubble than not on the bubble, on the wrong side of the bubble.
They've won 5 of 6. The one loss was to Notre Dame in a game that was nip and tuck going into the fourth quarter, and it got away from them. And they beat Princeton. They beat North Carolina, and they've got 2 really tough teams left in Virginia and Duke. They've played Duke already once this year, went into overtime here in the Dome. So it's going to be a tall order to get by either or both of these. But I tell you what, they win them both. They're in. They go 1-1.
Steve, someone asked a good question in the chat.
Yeah.
Is Syracuse lacrosse on the verge of the tournament, or are they on the precipice, or what would you say they are right now? Outside looking in? What would you use?
They control their own destiny. That's what.
Does that put them on the verge of making it?
Sure. Yes, they're on the verge of making it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hopefully you're wrong, because you thought the Bills were on the verge of something, and
no, they still are. They are still on the verge. It wasn't a 1-year verge thing. It was
the verge. The verge is perpetual.
It's not perpetual either. But I mean, there's a window. But the verge was not 1 year. The verge is Josh Allen's prime. I think is the.
Oh,
verge.
You know what we had what we call a promo meet. I'm going to give people a little inside baseball.
Okay.
We had what is called a promo meeting today, and there was a company that was looking to do some advertising that sold windows and doors. And maybe we could do the Verge window for the Buffalo Bills and sell it. And we have the Verge window on the monitor on our Q Sports Talk, and it starts slowly closing until it's no longer the Verge.
It's closed.
But you're the deciding factor. You are the only person that knows the definition of the Verge and how long it goes.
I like it. It's got some potential. Bring that to your next meeting. Let me know how that goes.
Also, someone in the chat saying Steve lives in a bubble. So he must love bubble talk also, because he doesn't like germs or chemicals.
I can't be the only one.
You're pretty close. It's like working with Monk. You ever watch that show, Monk?
I have, and I do have. I'm not nearly as crazy as he is. I have some tendencies.
Okay.
I have some Monk tendencies.
We'll take a quick time out. We'll do a filler palooza. And I'm gonna throw something in the filler palooza for Steve. I don't know if it's buy or sell or this or that or whatever it's going to be called. But I want to talk about Juan Soto. I have a hot take on Juan Soto.
I look forward to that. That's coming up next. Phone line's open, though, by the way, if you want to check in, 315-437-7644. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.